So hi, good afternoon. So today, new information to you people that we do have only 3 classes, including today. I was expecting that 5 classes would be there, but only 3 classes would be there. So we will have to finish it in 4 classes. So we'll have to go a little bit fast in this one, medieval history. Okay? Ancient I'll do on a normal pace, but medieval mein I don't think that we have covered a lot in this art and culture. So we'll do that fast, but आज वाला थोड़ा लो पेस में रखेंगे, ठीक है? हाँ, tomorrow onwards I'll do that, ठीक है? Tomorrow onwards, कल थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा टाइम लेके हम लोग क्लास करेंगे, ठीक है? Because I'll have to inform them that I'm extending the classes, ठीक है? So I think that we didn't started later Vedic period on that day. We did complete it till this early Vedic period. So just give me a few minutes. So we'll start today with later Vedic period. Later Vedic period. And then few things that we didn't covered in the culture classes is just for the same, I said to you that Charvaka and Ajivika that we didn't did in the culture classes in the philosophy. So usko aaj kar lenge, theek hai? We'll not leave it. So this later Vedic period, so what was the particular beginning of this is your 1000 BC and it was till 600 BC. Not exactly 600 BC, but we take approximate date, but when it started and till when it was there. So 1000 to 600, and the major development in this later Vedic period that led to major changes was your iron, discovery of iron. Okay? So discovery of iron happened in this period, and this discovery of iron, because you see that before 1000 BC you haven't come across that any place at any place that iron was used. Only copper was used or either bronze was used. Okay? So when copper was mixed with the tin, bronze was used, but no iron was there. So here discovery of iron led to many things. Okay? And this is, you already know that is, this is more harder than the harder material. This is a harder material as compared to the copper. Copper is very malleable, it is very flexible, okay? But this is the harder material. And then this led to what? So when they got this one, and it was easy to sharpen it, okay? And smelting process of the iron was easier than the copper. Smelting, you know now what is smelting? Yeah, extraction of the ore, okay? The extraction of the ore. So extraction of the iron was more easier. And this iron discovery, it facilitated in many things. So what was the first thing that it facilitated? Facilitated was your clearing the forest. Okay? So clearing the, clearing the forest, and in which area? Particularly Middle Gangetic Plain and also to the eastern side. Okay? So they moved towards the Middle Gangetic Plain also. Earlier they were there in the earlier Upper Gangetic Plain, and then they moved towards the Middle Gangetic Plain and also towards the eastern side. Okay? So eastern side was there. So this all happened in this period, and two such places where so many iron implements from the Vedic, this later Vedic period were found, were the Atranjikhera and Jakhira. Okay? So these two places were there from where these iron implements have been found, which suggests that it was discovered in this period. Okay? So first we'll write about this thing. So लिख लो इसको कि the major development of later Vedic period, major development of later Vedic period was use of iron. Was use of iron by Aryans. Use of iron by Aryans. Then further you write, which facilitated them to clear the dense forest, which facilitated them to clear the dense forest of Middle Gangetic Plain and eastern side. Middle Gangetic Plain and eastern side. Eastern side, okay? Then after this penetration of Aryans into the other parts of the country was divided into the three headings, okay? And three territories came to be known. And as such, they divided the whole territory of India into three parts. So northern part was called as Aryavart, okay? And you must have listened this word in whenever any puja is happening in your family. So Aryavarta Khande, okay? So they used to call it Aryavarta Khande. So this was known as the Aryavarta Khand. Then there was this Madhya Desh, okay? And one more was there, Madhya Desh, Aryavarta Khand, and this eastern को क्या बोलते हैं? हिंदी में क्या बोलेंगे? पूर्वखंड, ठीक है? So पूर्वखंड. So it was divided into these three parts. So Aryavart Khande, Madhya Desh, and this Purvakhand. Yeah, even it was also known as Khanda Desh. Okay? So it was also called as Khanda Desh. So you write the territory after penetration into other parts of country. It was divided into three parts. And then you write the name. So Aryavat Khand, this was your north side, this was central, and this was eastern. North, central, and eastern. These three places you write. Then, any one of you from Bihar who is knowing a little bit about that? You are from Bihar. Uske alawa koi? So you three are from Bihar. You must have heard about this place Champaran. Okay? Champaran, do you know? All of you know. Champaran. So Paschimi Champaran, from Paschimi Champaran you all know. Then how many of you have heard about Ara? Ara. A lot, many of you. Okay? And then Saran. Okay? So those who are from Bihar, they must be knowing about the same. So basically, the forest, how their name came from the later Vedic period. Okay? Champaran was initially was your Champaranya. Okay? So it was Champaranya and it was Aranya. Aranya means forest. Okay? So the name came from the Champaranya. And when they cleared this eastern side of the this territory, so this Champaranya came into being. Okay? Then was your Saranya. Saranya was your Saran, the present day Saran. The name came from that. And Ara was your present, it was Aranya. Okay? So that's how these names came into being. And they were initially the places where very dense forests were there, okay, in the later Vedic period. But by the incoming of the Mauryas period, Magad period, not Mauryas, with the rise of the Magad, okay, these forests were cleared. Okay? And initially they were mentioned as Aranya, Champaranya, and Saranya. Okay? So you write about this thing also, little bit about that. Ki, the dense forest like Aranya, Champaranya, and this Saranya were also mentioned which were on the eastern part of the country, which were in the eastern part of the country. Eastern part of the country. So after this, we'll be going by the same heading that how was the economy, okay? And then polity, society, and then religion. And then we'll talk about how it is related to the change in the philosophy in that period. So first thing that we are going to write was the economy during this period. Economy of later Vedic period. Later Vedic period. So here what became the most important? So which particular kind of thing was the major source of the economy? नहीं एग्रीकल्चर हाँ एग्रीकल्चर बोलेंगे बट नॉट एग्रीकल्चर हियर लैंड बिकेम द मेजर सोर्स ऑफ द इकोनॉमी ठीक है सो बेसिकली when people started agriculture, that has a relation with agriculture. So when people started agriculture, they started to lead a sedentary life, and then after this sedentary life, they needed a more land, and more land was required, more fertile land was required. So ultimately, this land became the most important wealth. Okay? And in lieu of the same, that for the same, what people started to do, that role of the king became larger. Okay? So role of king, it became larger, and his major function was to organize fight. Organize fight to acquire more and more land. Okay? So that was the main thing. So you write, likho, कि during the later Vedic period, the most important form of economic wealth was land, which is indicated from the term Rashtra in the later Vedic literature. Land, Rashtra means land. Okay? So it is indicated from this term Rashtra, which is mentioned in the later Vedic text. Later Vedic text. Which one? It is, Sita land is in Mauryan economy, not over here. Maurya's period. And there used to be Sita Adhyaksh in the Mauryan economy. So not in the later Vedic period. So here, so Rashtra, and it was mentioned in the later Vedic text. Then we talked about the kind of taxation system was not there. Okay? Here also taxation system was not there. Again, Bali was the one kind of voluntary contribution, but there are some instances in the later Vedic text where Bhag is also mentioned. Okay? And what is Bhag? That people used to give 1/6 of their produce to the king. Okay? So Bhag was a kind of contribution where 1/6 they used to give. ठीक है 1/6 और उससे 1/8 भी हो सकता है, but many places it has been mentioned, but not everywhere. ठीक है तो you write the contribution to king was in the form of Bali. So Bali you have already written. ठीक है and Bhag. Bali and Bhag. ठीक है and Bhag के बारे में लिखना कि Bhag was an involuntary contribution. Bhag was an involuntary contribution ranging from 1/6 to 1/8 of the produce. Ranging from 1/6 to 1/8 of the produce. Ranging from the 1/6 to the 1/8 of the produce. हाँ involuntary, ठीक है, हाँ काइंड ऑफ फोर्स, बट इट इज इन वेरी फ्यू इंस्टेंसेस लिखना, एंड ब्रैकेट्स में लिख लेना दिस हैपेंड इन वेरी फ्यू इंस्टेंसेस, ब्रैकेट्स में लिख लेना दिस हैपेंड इन वेरी few instances. It was not a kind of universal thing, but it was in few instances. Then come to the most important of this period was your political organization, that polity of this period. So after economy, polity of the later Vedic period. So as you have seen that कि land हो गया, तो land के बाद then king का role भी बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गया, and then now he need to fight a real kind of battle. So real kind of battle was also happening. Then further acquiring more and more territory will create more adversaries, ठीक है? So that was also happening, and this is the period, later Vedic is the period when Mahabharata happened, around 950 AD when Mahabharata happened. So I'll tell you a little bit history of the Mahabharata, what was there. So we talked about this Bharat, ठीक है? अभी सुन लो. So we talked about this Bharat clan, ठीक है? This was the one tribe, ठीक है? And there was one more clan whose name was Puru, ठीक है? So Bharat and Puru were there, and then this Bharat Puru, so they did a kind of alliance with each other, and kind of matrimonial alliances also happened, and they became the Kuru, ठीक है? So that Kuru Kauravs, these are the Kauravs, ठीक है? And these Kauravs, then again they combined with the Panchals, ठीक है? And after combining with the Panchal, they created their capital at Hastinapur, ठीक है? So Hastinapur is the present day Meerut. So this battle has been mentioned, this battle has been there, it has been there, the Kaurav's history, it has been there in the later Vedic period, but not the story of the Ramayana. Okay? The story of the Ramayana will be coming to the same, that where in bits and pieces is what there. It has been mentioned about the Janak, the king of the Videha. Okay? Janak was there, but nowhere Dasrath and Ram is mentioned. So we don't have any confirmed information about that, कि either Ramayana happened or not happened, but this one happened. Mahabharata happened, and that information is there. Okay? So you see that why these two people created a kind of matrimonial alliance, because they wanted bigger territories and more fertile territories. Okay? So that was the one thing, that they started to coalesce with each other. Then further in this period, पहले सुन लेना फिर बाद में लिखना. So we talked about this Sabha Samiti, earlier we talked about this Sabha Samiti and Vidhat. So out of these three, this last one, it totally disappeared. ठीक है? ये पूरी तरह से खत्म हो गया. And these two lost their former relevance. ठीक है? Lost their former relevance. What was the reason behind that? कि they lost their former relevance and this one completely disappeared? Was? King became more powerful, but king became more powerful तो reason नहीं था. King powerful होगा तो इन लोगों को रख भी सकता है, और इनके opinion को शायद वो ये बोल सकते हैं कि this was there, king became more powerful, but rather than king, Brahmins became more powerful. ठीक है? And they started to intermediate in that. So here Brahmins became more powerful, and they started to interfere. ठीक है? So Brahmins became very powerful. And then this is the period when the complex Brahminic rituals were taking place, and they got originated. So they created complex Brahminic rituals. ठीक है? And instead of these people, instead of this Sabha and Samiti, those who were taking the political and judicial decisions, they started to give advice to the king. And also, not just advice, it was a kind of confirmed thing that they used to say that कि अगर ऐसा नहीं करोगे तो नरक में जाओगे. ठीक है? So they bring some kind of sanctity with the Brahminic rituals कि ऐसा करना पड़ेगा तुम्हें. So that kind of, so that's how they were becoming very important, and that's how they elaborated the Brahminic rituals. So in this Brahminic rituals, there were few rituals that they elaborated and they started to say were kind of sacrifices. So we need to know little about those sacrifices, which were, so they created some complex sacrifices, and that sacrifice was your consecration ceremonies. Consecration ceremony. So consecration ceremony, and this consecration ceremony was known as Rajasuya. ठीक है? Rajasuya. ठीक है? So consecration, you know what is consecration? इसका मतलब राज्याभिषेक, ठीक है, ताजपोशी, ठीक है. सो कॉन्सिक्रेशन सेरेमनी, दिस राजसूया यूज्ड टू हैपन, ठीक है, एंड इन दिस राजसूया दिस कॉन्सिक्रेशन यूज्ड टू हैपन, दिस ताजपोशी यूज्ड टू हैपन, एंड ऑल्सो इन दिस पर्टिकुलर सेरेमनी अ लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ gift or donation was given to the priest. And in few instances it has been written that the king donated 24,000 cows to the priest. Okay? So these kind of donation or gifting used to happen in this consecration ceremony. Okay? And this was called as the key. This used to, this, if king is a normal king, kind of a normal king, so when consecration happens, so he will become a samrat. Okay? So this was for the samrat, for making him samrat. Then after this consecration ceremony, Rajasuya, there used to happen the second consecration thing, which was your second consecration, second Brahminic ritual, which was your Ashwamedha. Yes. So Ashwamedha. So what was there in Ashwamedha? थोड़ा सबको पता होगा. Heart was left. With open wound to roam around the territories, nearby territories. This ceremony used to happen for the 17 days, okay? And this used to happen for the 3 days, okay? So this used to happen for the 3 days, and in this a horse is left, okay, with an open wound, okay? And with the horse, with one horse, around 400 people, 400 cavalry, other cavalry, okay? So 400 cavalry or with armed people, they used to follow the horse. And if that horse is protested by the another king, so then this particular king A needs to fight with the king B who protested this. Okay? So this fight used to happen. And if king B is not protesting, so it means that he has acquired, he has accepted the suzerainty of the king A. Okay? So that was Ashwamedha. But it was not that easy ritual also. Here also, when the third day used to come, so on the third day, what they used to do, that here also, sacrifices used to happen. And here, what was the sacrifice? That, बताओ? Horse का sacrifice तो एक, वो तो एक अकेला जाएगा, लेकिन उसके साथ कई लोग जाएंगे, ठीक है? हम तो डूबेंगे सनम, तुम्हें भी ले डूबेंगे, ठीक है? So who all were going to be sacrificed? So here, 21 sterile cows were sacrificed, and around 200 bulls. So they were also sacrificed. Okay? So this much sacrifice used to happen even during this period. So you can see that how much, not just waste, but how much kind of animal sacrifice is happening in this period. And that's how you again connected with the rise of the Buddhism. That why farmers started to support Buddhism, okay, where animal sacrifice was prohibited. Okay? So this was the one thing. So in Ashwamedha, this kind of thing happened. And you already know that king wala part, queen wala part. That queen used to do that kind of ritual. She is the one who initiates the ritual by creating a wound on the horse back. Okay? उसके एक vein को काट देते थे. Okay? So that was the one thing. Then comes your third. एक black marker कोई आकृति, it's I want one black new one. So last one was your Vajpaya. Okay? And Vajpaya was what? It was called as the drink of the strength. ठीक है? So name of this is the drink of strength. So you know what kind of drink will give the strength? Bonvita? Here again Soma was there. ठीक है? तो Soma was there. Soma used to be there. Soma, you already know what is Soma. So Soma used to be there, and that was considered as the drink of strength. So, but it was not just drink of strength, but it was also a chariot race. ठीक है? तो रथ का जो क्या बोलते हैं रेस को हिंदी में दौड़ रथ दौड़ हाँ घुड़दौड़ ठीक है so that used to happen chariot race to happen and it was about that this festival used to happen 20-25 days 1 month ठीक है so in this festival the king was meant to win the heart of his people ठीक है by throwing party to them ठीक है so it was a kind of party heart of its own people ठीक है so this was the one thing and after this it was a kind of king also takes care of his own territory and unke party ka bhi dhyan rakhte hain so that was the one thing which used to happen in the Vajpaya so these three kind of sacrifices were created by the Brahmins and that's how usme raja ko bhi bahut maza aata tha kafi eventful hota tha event manager ka post create ho gaya so this was how that they elaborated the thing and people started to accept this dramatic things ठीक है so इसमें लिखो कि what is the thing that you have written अभी कुछ नहीं लिखा है ना तो इसमें लिखो कि the role of king after writing you raise the question ठीक है so the role of the king because it breaks the flow so the role of the king became more important in this period became more important in this period as he was expected to acquire more and more land ठीक है full stop then you write the assemblies of Sabha and Samiti lost their former relevance and Vidhat completely disappeared. Vidhata. Vidhata. Vidhata completely disappeared. Okay? Then you write the political decisions were dominated by Brahmins who elaborated complex Brahminic rituals and propagated that rituals bring supremacy of king ठीक है then further write as such three important rituals came into being ठीक है and then you'll start with the first you write Rajasuya Rajasuya, and then in brackets you'll be writing consecration ceremony. Okay? So first one is this Rajasuya, and this is your consecration ceremony. Consecration ceremony. Okay? So you write in this ritual, Rajya Abhishek of king used to happen. Rajya Abhishek of king used to happen. Rajya Abhishek of king used to happen. And then further you write, and he was supposed to give gifts to the priest. Give gift to the priest. Give gift to the priest. ठीक है? Then वो example भी लिखो, because if at all if you require that Buddhism से कोई related question हो, ठीक है? And if you require that where you need to elaborate that how this sacrifice and this kind of discrimination against the animals were happening, so these examples will be aptly over there. So you write that in few instances, it has been written that 24,000 cows were gifted to the priest. 24,000 cows were gifted to the priest. Cows were gifted to the priest. So ये अमूल और मदर डेयरी का फाउंडेशन इन लोगों ने तभी स्टार्ट कर दिया था, ठीक है? वो तो आजकल में हम लोग मार्केटिंग करके उसको आफ्टर द मूवी मंथन वी क्रिएटेड इट. So then further you write second one Ashwamedha. 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 ठीक है? So इसमें वो पूरा प्रोसेस आई थिंक वी हैव डिस्कस्ड. पूरा प्रोसेस कहीं लिखा भी था इसके पहले, बताया था सिर्फ, तो थोड़ा सा लिख लेते हैं, ठीक है? In this ritual, a wounded horse was left free in other territories. Horse was accompanied with 400 men. Armed men लिखना. Armed men, 400 armed men. 400 armed men. Full stop. Then you write, if the horse was stopped by any other king, any other king, the initiator king, comma के बाद लिखना, comma, and then you write the initiator king needs to fight the battle with the other king, ठीक है? And then you write, if horse is not captured by anybody, then it means, that the rulers of those region where horse ventured have accepted the suzerainty of the initiator king. हाँ, S-U-Z, S-U-Z-E-R-A-N-I-T-Y. Suzerainty of the initiator king. It means that कि suzerainty means कि अधीन हो जाना. हाँ, आधिपत्य. तो आधिपत्य स्वीकार कर लिया. ठीक है. Then next you write, the horse was sacrificed along with 21 sterile cows and large number of bulls. ये bull वाला, this used to vary. In few places you will find 200 and few places you will find 600. तो brackets में लिख लेना 200 to 600 it varies. ठीक है. So हो सकता है थोड़ा प्रैक्टिकल हो कि 600 मिल ना पाया हो तो फिर 200 सैक्रिफाइस करके छोड़ दिया हो. ठीक है. So that was the one. So which one? चालू किया था वुड के हॉर्स को उन्होंने वो किया था. अच्छा. लक्ष्मण जी ने वुड का हॉर्स बनाया था और राम जी ने उसको किया. अच्छा, this was started by, but that is mythological. तो इसीलिए that we discussed that कि in the text, later Vedic texts we don't have any evidence of the same. ठीक है. And when Valmiki was there, what was the period of the Valmiki? No, he was around 4th century AD. He was in 4th century. हाँ, but we are in BC. हाँ, we are in BC. Mahabharata was older than that. ठीक है. And Ramayana, when it was written by Valmiki, so he was around 4th century AD. So he was. Yug, तो I don't know. I don't have a clear kind of distinction between the yugs. But at least it was written around 4th century. I think Akriti it's 4th century AD, na? When Valmiki wrote this, 4th century AD. ठीक है. So this was there. Then now come to the last one, Vajpaya. Vajpaya, and it means drink of strength. ठीक है. So drink of strength, and then you write, in this ritual, a chariot race used to organize. In this ritual, chariot race used to organize and people were also invited to participate in this ritual. ठीक है. Then you write what was the purpose of this ritual. So you write this ritual was meant to win the heart of their own people. ठीक है. So this was from the polity section. that वो लिखोगे, वो आएगा तो नहीं, बट एक बार फिर से वापस सुन लो. तुम अपने एंड पे तुम लोग नोट कर लेना, मैं लिखवाऊंगा नहीं, अदरवाइज it will not be asked, but if you want to know it again. So around 950 AD this battle is mentioned, 950 AD के around का. So going by the late AD not BC, so going by our later Vedic literature, it is that 950 BC was the period when Mahabharata used to happen. So in this period what happened, that we have already talked about that clan Bharat, ठीक है, जो दशराजन वॉर में बात किया था. ठीक है. And then Bharat, and then one more clan was there, Puru. ठीक है. So Bharat and Puru were there. These Bharat and Puru, they combined together. ठीक है. And they also established matrimonial alliance with each other. ठीक है. And then अब ये कंबाइनली अपने आप को नेम चेंज कर दिया, ठीक है। तो आफ्टर दिस अलायंस दे स्टार्टेड टू कॉल देमसेल्फ कुरु, ठीक है। एंड दिस कुरुज आर योर कौरव, ठीक है। देन फर्दर दिस कुरुज, ठीक है, दे अगेन डिड एन अलायंस विथ पांचाल, ठीक है। They did an alliance with Panchal and they established their rule in Hastinapur, ठीक है। And Hastinapur is the present day Meerut, ठीक है। So these were the people, and then further other stories about the Mahabharata that you already know, that they fought with the Pandavas, ठीक है, their own cousins. They were the cousin, na? Their own cousins. So their own cousins, they fought with them. And then you know all the other stories that Pandavas were who, then Draupadi and all the other things. Okay? But this is the particular chronology when this was mentioned. This Mahabharata Yuddha was mentioned. Okay? So now come to the society of the later Vedic period. So society of that period. So already we have seen a little bit about the thing that this women ka position will talk over here. So what was there? So विधाता completely disappeared, ठीक है। तो एक तो अगर जो ये विधाता completely disappear हो गया तो what happened कि women इसके automatically part नहीं होंगे। And earlier women were the part of sabha, ठीक है। And here they were removed from the sabha, ठीक है। तो now they were not allowed to participate in sabha. This completely disappeared, but here they were not allowed. Then further, not all the things were bad with the women, but education was allowed over here, ठीक है। And even higher education was also allowed. So how we get information about that even higher education was allowed to women? We used to get this information from the Gargi and Yajnavalkya, conversation. Yajnavalk बोलते हैं, but we used to write Yajnavalkya. So their conversation, from this conversation we used to get information that women were allowed to have this kind of higher education. Then further, what about the religious participation in the religious rituals? So now they were not allowed. So in religious rituals, women were not allowed. Participation, earlier they were allowed to participate in the religious ritual, so here they were not allowed. Okay? Then you all must have heard about this Upanayan. We have talked about that. Okay? So Upanayan Sanskar, so in this Upanayan Sanskar, even Upanayan Sanskar was not allowed for the women. Okay? So that got started from the later Vedic period. So Upanayan, not for women, and also it was not for the Sudras. Okay? So Upanayan was meant only for the three classes, upper three classes, Brahman, Vaishya, Kshatriya and Vaishya. Okay? So these three were allowed. It means that कि अगर जो discussion आता है तो it means that कि some kind of concept of the Brahman, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra consolidated. Okay? So this we need to know कि how this consolidation used to happen. That happened. So basically, society got divided into these four varnas. In early Vedic period, there was no such division. Okay? So there was no such division. Only three category of people used to happen. We used to live over there. So one person was your, in early Vedic period का बात कर रहे हैं. First we are talking about the early Vedic period. So first you listen that either priests were there in this period, warriors were there, or commoners were there in the early Vedic period. Okay? And there was also one thing that in one family there used to happen, उसमें एक warrior भी हो सकता था, एक commoner भी हो सकता था, and even one priest could also be there. ठीक है? So that kind of system did existed in the early Vedic period. That even in one family, three kind of people do exist, three kind of professions do exist. But in the later Vedic period, that kind of division was that they just it was kind of dropped, this kind of concept was dropped, and birth became the basis of the this occupation. So basically, for this Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. Okay? So these came into being. And the very first text where it was mentioned, so it was mentioned in the 10th Mandal of Rigveda. Okay? So this, in the 10th Mandal of Rigveda, it was written. And dekho, ek cheez we have already discussed about the Rigveda, that what was Rigveda? That Rigveda, we have talked about 1028 times, but we didn't talk about the mandals of the Rigveda. So Rigveda, if we divide Rigveda into the mandal, so it was divided into 10 mandal. Okay? Rigveda was divided into 10 mandal, and out of this 10, only 2 to 7, okay, 2 se 7, it was written during the early Vedic period. And this first one, first, 8th, 9th and 10th, these were written during the later Vedic period. Okay? And in this 10th one, okay, it was written that we need to divide the society on the basis of the birth. Okay? And that division on the basis of the Varna, and that division would be these 4. And these 4 were called as they were mentioned in a particular kind of theory. Okay? So that theory was known as Purush Asukti theory. Purusha Sukti theory. Then they further explained in this Purusha Sukti theory, they further explained that why we are going to divide the society into the 4 parts, because the primeval man, okay, or who was the primeval man? Brahma. Okay? So Brahma was considered as the primeval man, yeah, first man, and they used to say that these people got originated from the some parts of the Brahma. Okay? So they said that this Brahmana, they originated from the mouth of the primeval man, these arms of the primeval man, Vaishya, thigh, and these were the feet. Okay? So that's how this division came into being, and it was written in the 10th mandala of the Rigveda. But you must not get confused, the 10th mandala of the Rigveda was written during the it was not in early Vedic but later Vedic. ठीक है? और पूछ सकते हो कि ऐसा डिवीजन क्यों कि जिसमें फर्स्ट बाद में आ रहा है. ठीक है? तो it is just like your preamble, that when constitution was written and preamble was written later. So it's a kind of a preface, it's a kind of a that whole concepts of the Veda which could be there in the first one, and then 8, 9, 10 were written. ठीक है? So this was there. Then further this division of the society, then you see that feet. ठीक है? So he was considered this feet के Sudra. ठीक है? So feet से निकला हुआ समझते थे, and then they were a kind of a most discriminated people. ठीक है? Why this was so? That who used to do the in your body, you see that पूरे शरीर का बोझ कौन उठाता है? Your feet. ठीक है? And all dirty kind of things first used to happen with the feet. ठीक है? आजकल लोग मुंह से बहुत ज़्यादा करते हैं, but so feet. So इसीलिए हिंदुइज्म में this परंपरा is there कि you need to respect first the feet, कि जो बॉडी का सबसे तुच्छ पार्ट है, तुच्छ बोलते हैं. ठीक है? So बॉडी का सबसे तुच्छ पार्ट है, तो उसको छूना होता है. ठीक है? That's why you need to touch the feet. आजकल लोग कैसे नमस्कार करते हैं? यहाँ से घुटने छूते हैं. कुछ लोग तो घुटने भी नहीं छूते, वहीं से ऐसे. ठीक है? So हाई फाई भी चलता है तुम्हारा. So दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में हाई फाई चलता है. ठीक है? So अच्छा I don't know that particular word. ठीक है? So this one. So that's how this division was there. ठीक है? And these people got originated. तो इसको लिख लो कि first we'll start with this society and then we'll go to the women वाला portion. ठीक है? So you write कि in the 10th mandal of Rigveda, it has been mentioned in Purusha Sukti theory, and you underline this Purusha Sukti, in Purush and Shukti, Purush RU SHA and then SUKTI. Purusha Sukti theory. To divide the society on the basis of birth. To divide the society on the basis of birth. Okay, then you write. As such, Varna system, VARNA, as such, Varna system came into being. ठीक है? Then you write these 4 categories and 4 ये चारों लिख के इसमें आगे लिखना कि said to be, ब्राह्मण के आगे लिखना है said to be originated from mouth of primeval man. I'm writing over here on the board. Prime first you write and then EVAL, primeval man. So Brahmanas said to be originated from the mouth of primeval man. Then Brahmanas said to be originated from mouth of primeval man. Kshatriyas said to be originated from arms of primeval man. So उसी trend में आगे लिख लो पूरा arms of primeval man. Then Vaishyas thigh of primeval man and feet of primeval man. And here primeval man means Brahma, Prajapati. ठीक है? So we'll be talking about the Prajapati in the religion. So what happened? अनटचेबल कैटेगरी नहीं था, अभी अनटचेबल नहीं बोलेंगे, ठीक है? अनटचेबली स्लोली वो कॉन्क्रेटाइज हुआ, ठीक है? इट गॉट स्लोली कॉन्क्रेटाइज, बट दिस टाइम अनटचेबल काइंड ऑफ कैटेगरी वाज नॉट देयर, बट पीपल वेयर हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना हे दृष्टि से देखना. Chandal's concept used to came in the, mostly it got concretized after this period. No, not this period. We cannot say the Chandals were there. And the very, मतलब क्या बोलेंगे, good kind of example of the Chandal is there from the Gupta period. ठीक है? Chandals were the ones that eat non-vegetarian. No. इसमें भी तो non-vegetarian लोग खाते थे. अभी तो कल ही पढ़ा था कि no, Chandal used to eat non-vegetarian. Even Aghoris used to eat. Did I talk about the Aghoris? Yes. So they used to eat the flesh of the corpses. They used to eat. ठीक है? You tell. हाँ, that can be written. हाँ, but उसको अनटचेबल नहीं बोलेंगे, उसको आउटकास्ट ये लोग बोलते थे, ठीक है? देखो, अगर जो बहुत बेसिकली if you want to read very deeper into that, तो untouchability is something, it is very kind of a discriminating thing. That kind of thing was not there. A kind of love and kind of care was also there in the society at that point of time. कि कोई एक ऐसा करता था, दूसरा support करता था. When we'll be talking about the Nanda dynasty, then we'll come to know. ठीक है? He's Sudra. He belonged to the Sudra family. ठीक है? So you will come to know that how it was there. So where I was, that ये चारों complete हुआ. Then you write about the position of women in the society. इसी में देखो तो position of women. So you write, women were outcasted from the Sabha. Women were outcasted from the Sabha, and now they were not allowed to participate. They were not allowed to participate in religious rituals. In religious rituals. ठीक है? Then further you write, but education was allowed. But education was allowed. and we used to get information about the same, and we used to get information about the same from Gargi Yagyavalk conversation. From Gargi Yagyavalkya conversation. Gargi. Yagyavalk, I'm writing it again. Yagyavalk में you need to write YAJ, NYA, and then VAL KYA. Yajniya Valkya. ठीक है? But you will be pronouncing it as Yagya Valkya. So Yajyavalk. Then further write about the marriages we need to know. Okay? So marriages you write कि in this period, few new kinds of marriages made appearance. Few new kinds of marriages made appearance. ठीक है? So first we'll talk about the Anulom and Pratilom Vivah. So first you write Anulom Vivah. Anulom Vivah. ठीक है? And in this what used to happen? Higher caste, lower caste women. ठीक है? So higher caste male weds lower caste female. ठीक है? So in this you write higher caste male was married to lower caste female. ठीक है? Here I have written male, so you write it female. ठीक है? So it must be there in the USA, not in India. So the higher caste male was married to the lower caste female. ठीक है? And इसके नीचे लिखना कि though this was not encouraged, but allowed. Though this was not encouraged, but allowed. ठीक है? Then you write Pratilom Vivah. After Anulom, Pratilom Vivah. ठीक है? So इसमें क्या होगा? What will happen in this one? लोअर कास्ट मेल नहीं, इधर हायर कास्ट फीमेल मैरिड टू लोअर कास्ट मेल. ठीक है? सो दिस वॉज नॉट अलाउड, दिस वॉज नॉट इनकरेज एंड दिस वॉज नॉट अलाउड, दो इट यूज टू हैपन बट इन सोसाइटी इट वॉज नॉट अलाउड. ठीक है? और इवन टुडे यू सी दैट पीपल हु आर देयर इन द ऑर्थोडॉक्स रूरल इंडिया, वो अपनी बेटी की शादी अपने से उच्च वर्ण में करते हैं. दे यूज टू डू कि बेटी की शादी उच्च गोत्रा में हो. ठीक है? नॉट इन द सेम गोत्रा एंड नॉट इन द इंफीरियर गोत्रा. सो दैट इज स्टिल फॉलोड. ठीक है? सो लॉजिक तो
टाइप्स ऑफ लॉ में डिवीजन कर दिया था. 4 टाइप्स के अनुलोम में थे, 4 टाइप्स के प्रतिलोम में. जैसे किडनैप करेंगे किसी को,
that is a different subdivision. ठीक है? किडनैप करेंगे that is, देखो किडनैप में भी दो, what he is saying that कि there were few more categories of, I तो elaborate करूंगा लेकिन उसको लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. ठीक है? सुन लो बस. ठीक है? उसमें क्या क्या है. So these two you understood, and then what was there, that there was a kind of daiv marriage. ठीक है? So daiv marriage में in this what used to happen कि girl was married to the priest. ठीक है? With some gift. ठीक है? So daiv was there. Then after daiv, brahma. ठीक है? What was brahma? बताओ. Girl was married to another person in the same caste and according to the wishes of the parent. ठीक है? तो जैसे आजकल होता है. ठीक है? कि अरेंज मैरिज, इट इज अ प्रेजेंट अरेंज मैरिज. ठीक है? तो ब्रह्म मैरिज. देन वॉज योर गांधर्व. ठीक है? सो व्हाट वाज गांधर्व? हाँ, इट वाज लव मैरिज. ठीक है? एंड इट वाज लव मैरिज, और इसमें भी लोग इनकरेज ये करते थे कि सेम कास्ट में हो. ठीक है? या सेम वर्णा में हो. देन कम्स योर असुर, पैसाच एंड राक्षस. ठीक है, थ्री comes under there. So first you write, पहला होगा असुर, ठीक है, and then second would be राक्षस and third one पैसाच. ठीक है, so राक्षस में here असुर. ठीक है, तो असुर was your this विवाह, अनुलोम, this प्रतिलोम विवाह. ठीक है, तो असुर was your प्रतिलोम विवाह, where higher caste female was married to lower caste male. ठीक है, so this used to happen in this one. But in what Rakshas, here girl was captured. ठीक है, girl was captured and then she was married to some person. ठीक है, and then in this विवाह what used to happen? हाँ, seductive drinks were given. ठीक है, some drinks in abbreviated position में girl was married to somebody. ठीक है, तो she was given something that she is in an inabbreviated position, and then so in this one girl was in abbreviated position, girl was married to the man, and सबसे ज़्यादा इसको मतलब this was most disliked thing, then this was, then this, and then these three categories were there.
Like to maintain the indigeneity of the races, to prevent the intermixing of races.
We are coming to that उगोत्रा concept में, इसी में है, आगे we are coming to that. ठीक है, so these were the kind of marriage, but here what we need to limit our discussion to this one only, Anulom and Pratilom. If UPSC will ask, so they will ask this one only. But they can ask you that this kind of Asur and Rakshas marriages came into being. तो ये लिख सकते हो कि later Vedic period से. तो एक mention कर लो कि 6 kind of marriages were there, and then you write 8. तो what are the 2?
आर्य है उसमें.
एक
कैटेगरी में दैव है, ब्रह्मा, गंधर्व एंड आर्य विवाह.
आर्य विवाह, दैत्य. बट चलो लिख लेना, बट आई हैव रेड दिस 6. ठीक है, तो तुम जिसको ऐड करना होगा वो कर लेगा. ठीक है, बट यू राइट कि दीज काइंड ऑफ मैरिजेस, ये लिख लेना कि दीज काइंड ऑफ मैरिजेस ऑल्सो अपीयर्ड इन द लेटर वैदिक पीरियड. सो यू जस्ट राइट द नेम्स. So Dev, Brahma, Gandharva, Asur, Rakshas and Pesach. Okay, so this was about the marriages. Then did we talk about the child marriage? नहीं, हाँ उस वाले में बात किया था. ठीक है, यहाँ पे भी चाइल्ड मैरिज के कोई इंस्टेंसेस नहीं है. तो वी डोंट हैव एनी इंस्टेंस ऑफ द चाइल्ड मैरिज इवन इन द लेटर वैदिक पीरियड. सो यू राइट, we don't have any concrete evidence. We don't have any concrete evidence of child marriage in later Vedic period. Child marriage in later Vedic period. ठीक है, LVP. Then come to the Gotra concept which emerged in this period. So another thing which came into being was the concept of the Gotra. ठीक है, so one new idea which took place, that was the concept of the Gotra. So what was this Gotra? Any idea from you people? हाँ बताओ.
गोत्र में डिवाइड कर दिया था ब्राह्मण्स.
What? फिर तेज बोलो.
ब्राह्मण्स ने को गोत्र में डिवाइड कर दिया बाद में.
No. अभी ये तो आगे होगा, ये इनिशियली नहीं होगा. Yes, very good. हाँ, they are a kind of a lineage. ठीक है, lineage from a common ancestor. गोत्र का definition यही होगा कि this is a lineage from a common ancestor.
Mainly saints, no?
हाँ, mainly saints. ठीक है, हाँ, first we'll be writing the dictionary वाला definition और फिर उसके बाद then will be historical definition. ठीक है, तो lineage from a common ancestor, and that common ancestor was your rishis. And that common ancestor is your rishis. ठीक है? So lineage from a common ancestor. Gotra means. Then you write, इसमें पहले लिख लो कि the concept of Gotra also emerged during this period. Also emerged during this period. Okay? And you have already written which indicated lineage from a common ancestor. Which indicated lineage from a common ancestor. Then further you write, इसमें आगे लिखो. So why this concept of the Gotra came into being? Some matrimonial alliances were taken care according to this Gotra principle. ठीक है? So what they did, that Brahmins advised exogamy. ठीक है? So they advised exogamy. What is exogamy? That हाँ नहीं आउटकास्ट नहीं, एक्सोगैमी मतलब सेम गोत्रा में यू कैन नॉट मैरी. ठीक है? तो इफ यू आर फ्रॉम अ भारद्वाज गोत्र तो यू कैन नॉट मैरी इन द भारद्वाज गोत्र. ठीक है? सो दैट वाज द एक्सोगैमी. ठीक है? सो यू राइट कि ब्राह्मण्स एडवाइज्ड द पीपल टू फॉलो गोत्रा एक्सोगैमी in matters of matrimonial alliance. ठीक है? Then further, there are many concepts. One more concept related with this Gotra. That देखो, Gotra was created by the different races. ठीक है? Different races and the people. So we have already read in the this language and literature part कि ऋग्वेदा के then first sub-extended texts were the Brahmanas. ठीक है? So you have already read about the Brahman text. ठीक है? So this Brahman texts were nothing but they were written by a particular rishi. ठीक है? So suppose करो कि for example, I'll give you one example that one of the very important Brahman texts was Satpant. ठीक है? तो Satpant was written by somebody and those who used to follow Satpant, ठीक है? तो they used to follow that rishi. ठीक है? So those who used to follow that rishi, they were supposed to tie their cattle, ठीक है, in the ashram of that rishi. ठीक है? तो एक एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं कि सपोज दैट कि देयर वाज वन ऋषि हुज नेम वाज कश्यप. ठीक है? सो इफ कश्यप एंड two examples I'm taking, Kashyap and Sandilya. So this part of the people used to follow the Sandilya and this part of the people used to follow Kashyap. ठीक है? So those who follow Kashyap Rishi, so they used to tie their cattle in his ashram. ठीक है? So tie their cattle in his ashram and here they will tie their cattle in his ashram. ठीक है? So not just the humans but cattle were also divided on the basis of the Gotra. ठीक है? So that's how the cow some concepts got transferred to the cow section also. ठीक है? So this is how the different Gotra concept emerged and that's how you can identify yourself that ki many of you who do belong to the different caste but they do belong to the same Gotra. ठीक है? So that's how the Gotra concept is there. ठीक है? And they said that ki exogamy, but it was a kind of you can say that ki scientific. Exogamy, Gotra exogamy was kind of scientific. Why this was so? That कि same gene pool, ठीक है? Same, अगर जो you are marrying in the same Gotra, तो same gene pool will be rotated, ठीक है? But if you are marrying outside your Gotra, तो different kind of gene pool would be there. Chances of that when there would be diversity, so there will be strength, and that's how biodiversity is important. ठीक है? How many of you have gone through that NCERT text of the biodiversity जो class 11th का है, 10th and 11th वाला 4 chapters are there. 12th का है, ठीक है? जिस भी class का हो, you go through that and that's how you will get to know that diversity is required. For the strength, diversity is required. ठीक है? If diversity is not there, if there is a kind of a monotonous thing is going on, monopolistic thing, so that will lead to the destruction. So that's how the diversity is required, because some strong traits would be there in that one. Okay? That issue was also there in the BT Brinjal issue. Okay? So diversity was kind of diminishing in the BT Brinjal issue, and right now BT Cotton issue. Okay? So these kind of things. So that's why you can connect everything. Diversity over here also, diversity over there also. So this exogamy was a kind of that thing which tried to restore the diversity. ठीक है, so that was the one thing. ठीक है, तो इसको लिखो, इसमें कुछ आगे नहीं लिख लिया ना कि follow the Gotra exogamy. ठीक है, then after this Gotra concept, we need to know about the Upanishads. ठीक है, so Upanishads that we have already read. ठीक है, we need to elaborate a little bit about the Upanishads. So, in the end of this period, what happened? कि when Buddha and Mahavir came. So, उसके पहले से, before Mahavir and Buddha, so there was that tradition that you already know. What was that tradition? Shraman. ठीक है, the Shraman was there, and Shraman was what? Anti-Vedic. ठीक है, so this was anti-Vedic tradition, and in this tradition people were opposing the Vedic rituals, Vedic ideas. ठीक है, so who were those people who started to, so they were the progressive sections of the society. So progressive sections of the society, and which includes the Kshatriyas and Brahmanas also. ठीक है, तो why Kshatriyas initiated this kind of protest? Progressive section this initiated.
बाकियों से पोजीशन अच्छी थी इसलिए.
हाँ बिल्कुल, बाकियों से पोजीशन देखो, Vaishyas you already know. ठीक है, तो Vaishyas are the one people who don't have a particular kind of allegiance. When they say their benefit is there on the one side, so they will go on that side, and when they say their benefit is on the another side, so they will go on that side. So they are the practical people, and Sudras, they are not having that much strength and that much vigor to protest that. But Kshatriyas के साथ क्या था? भाई दिमाग तो घुटने में होता है, कुछ भी protest करेंगे. So they started to protest. तो दिमाग लगा नहीं, and they started to protest, and this is how this progressive sections of the society, so they were progressive sections of the society who started to protest, and this protest finally culminated into these two people's movement. ठीक है, so then further, what was the change in this particular theory that इसको हमने बात नहीं किया था. ठीक है, so what was changed? So in this section, this progressive section of the society, so what they did, that they started to write their thoughts in the Upanishads. ठीक है, Upanishads, and as such, these progressive ideas were compiled in more than hundreds of Upanishads are there. ठीक है, so there are more than hundreds of Upanishads. Then further, what was the thing that they were protesting? So you have already seen that in early Vedic period, what was the major purpose of the worship? Material gain. ठीक है, here also in the later Vedic period, whatever that has been prescribed, that was prescribed by the Brahmins, that was key material gain. ठीक है, तो worship का purpose here also was the material gain. So they started to say, these progressive sections of the society, they started to say that more than the material gain, ठीक है, spiritual gain is required. ठीक है, and it should be the purpose of the worship. ठीक है, so this was the one idea that they started to propagate, कि material gain को छोड़ दो and you go by the spiritual gain. ठीक है, and that's how the concept of the soul came into being. ठीक है, so they were the first people, these progressive sections of the society were the first people who brought the concept of the soul, and that's how Buddha gave the concept of the salvation, nirvana. Now you can connect. You have written in the Nirvana section in the Buddhism that Buddha was the first person to talk about the salvation. It was not someone from the Hinduism, okay? But it was Buddha who talked first about the salvation. So that's how this concept of salvation came. Then further, these Upanishadic people, these progressive thought wale people, okay? What they used to do, that when they started to protest, so they were kind of कि society में ये isolate हो जाते थे. So they used to live isolated, okay? And they used to lead a hermit life. Hermit, you understand na? What is hermit? ठीक है, hermit is a kind of a crab, ठीक है, which used to live at one place. So they used to live at a kind of a hermit life. So when they are living in an isolated and hermit life, so through meditation, ठीक है, through meditation they acquire mysticism. ठीक है, and when they acquired mysticism, their theories, their ideas were respected in the society. ठीक है, so when they acquired this mysticism, their ideas and their theories were approved in the society, and then after what happened, that Brahmins, they started to feel that कि हमारी position खराब हो रही है. ठीक है, We are losing our position. So then what they did, they again came with one more concept. ठीक है? So they said कि yes, you people are true. अब देखो मिली जुली सरकार बनने जा रही है. ठीक है? So they said that कि हाँ, you people are true कि people should go by the spiritual gain and they should follow the asceticism, but थोड़ा आपको चेंज करना चाहिए कि आपके अकॉर्डिंग टू द बुद्धिज्म एंड दिस, आपके अकॉर्डिंग कि एक बच्चा पैदा और अगले ही दिन घर छोड़ के परिव्रजक बन जाए. ठीक है? सो दैट शुड नॉट बी देयर. दे डिवाइज द आश्रम व्यवस्था. ठीक है? एंड इन दिस आश्रम व्यवस्था दे एकोमोडेटेड द एसेटिसिज्म वाला थॉट. ठीक है? सो व्हाट वाज देयर इन द आश्रम व्यवस्था? हाँ, ब्रह्मचर्य. नहीं सुना है? हाँ, अब बोलो. वानप्रस्थ पहले आ जाएगा. गृहस्थ. ठीक है? सो देन गृहस्थ, वानप्रस्थ एंड संन्यास. Vanaprasth and sannyas. So they said that asceticism is required. Yes, they started to accommodate this ascetic theory, ठीक है? And they started to say that yes, it is required, but it can be accommodated only at this place, Vanaprasth and sannyas. But they said they gave the importance to the brahmacharya, but there should be a period where one should be studying and living in a Guru Shishya Parampara. ठीक है? Then Grihastha stage is also required. ठीक है? So Grihastha stage is also required, and then after you go into the partial retirement. ठीक है? This Vanaprastha is the partial retirement, and here is the sannyas is the full retirement. So just like our Nehra ji, partial retirement was there from the test, and then 1 day, and then yesterday it was the full retirement. ठीक है? So full retirement. So this is how. So they said that ki this asceticism should be moved to these two places. ठीक है? And that's how they accommodated with the same, because they were getting the threat from this new concept, and if at all they wouldn't have changed, तो इनका भी कुछ बंटाधार हो गया होता. ठीक है? So that would have happened. So they accommodated with this ashrama theory. ठीक है? And that's how the ashrams came into being. ठीक है? And that's how the concept of the soul became most important. ठीक है? So उसके पहले सोल का कोई कंसेप्ट नहीं था. ठीक है? Which one? मान लो कोई शादी 10 साल पे कर ले तो फिर क्या होगा? नहीं, ऐसे ईयर्स में डिवाइड नहीं करेंगे. ईयर्स में नहीं डिवाइड कर सकते. हाँ, 28-25. आज के इसके अकॉर्डिंग लेके चले तो यूपीएससी की नहीं, यूपीएससी की तैयारी करने वालों की शादी 35 के पहले नहीं होती है. ठीक है? तो गृहस्थ आश्रम का आधा तो ऐसे ही निकल गया. ठीक है? सो एंड उसके ऊपर से भी यूपीएससी हैज गिवन यू 6 अटेम्प्ट्स. ठीक है? तो पहले लोग थोड़े से मतलब थोड़ी जल्दी में तैयारी करते थे. आजकल सोते खाते पीते ऐसे तैयारी करते हैं. सो थोड़ा जल्दी होना चाहिए सारा सब कुछ. तुम लोग 1-2 अटेम्प्ट में क्लियर करके चले जाना. सो इसको लिखो कि ड्यूरिंग दिस पीरियड, राइट, ड्यूरिंग दिस पीरियड द प्रोग्रेसिव सेक्शंस ऑफ द सोसाइटी, started to protest against elaborate Brahminic rituals. Started to protest against elaborate Brahminic rituals. Brahminic rituals. ठीक है? Then you write, they advocated the basis of worship should be, they advocated that basis of worship should be spiritual gain. Basis of worship should be spiritual gain and not material gain. They propagated the concept of purity of soul. purity of soul, purity of soul, and ascetic way of life. ASCTIC. Ascetic and ascetic way of life. Ascetic way of life. Okay? Then you write, these progressive people used to live in isolated and hermit used to live in isolated and hermit kind of habitation, and through meditation they acquired mystical powers. Acquired mystical powers. And now they were more respected. In the society. And their thoughts were compiled in Upanishads. Their thoughts were compiled in Upanishads. Their thoughts were compiled in Upanishads. ठीक है? Compiled in Upanishad. Then further you'll be writing. Buddha was the first person to talk about salvation. First person to talk about salvation. And purity of soul. Then you change the paragraph और उसके बाद लिखो seeing the same मतलब देखने के बाद, ठीक है? तो SEING, seeing the same, Brahmins started to accommodate the Upanishadic thought. And ascetic way of life. Upanishadic thought and ascetic way of life. And they gave the concept of ashram vyavastha. Okay? So first one is your, again you'll write. So first one is brahmacharya. So brahmacharya was meant for the what were there in the brahmacharya? Study के लिए था गुरु शिष्य परंपरा, but it also means that कि you will follow celibacy. ठीक है? तो follow celibacy, ठीक है? And then it was a study under Guru Shishya Parampara. Guru Shishya Parampara. So follow celibacy and study under Guru Shishya Parampara. So that was your brahmacharya. Then next was your grihastha. So grihastha, here one used to live a married life. Okay? So this is about married life. Then vanaprastha. Partial asceticism. Partial asceticism, and then you write last one, sannyas is the full asceticism. Full asceticism. So this was how the society was shaped in this period. Now come to the religious figures and religious practices during this period. So after this, ashram vyavastha come to the. So religious practices of later Vedic period. The religious practices of this period. Yeah. LVP. Okay. So in this, so already, who were the major gods in the early Vedic period? Indra, Varun, Agni, okay? They were there. They were the major gods in that, and we talked about few other gods also, okay? So they were the major gods. But here, the early Vedic gods lost their former relevance. It doesn't mean that they disappeared. They were there, but they lost their former relevance, okay? And here, the most important god came to be known as Prajapati, okay? And Prajapati was who? He is the Brahma and creator of the universe. Okay? So he came into being. Then second important god was your, batao? Yes, Shiva. So Shiva was there and he was known as Rudra. Shiva and both Rudra and Vishnu both came into being, and both were considered as the second most important god. Okay? So the concept of the Rudra and Vishnu also came in this period. Okay? So you write the early Vedic gods, you write the early Vedic gods, the early Vedic gods like Indra, Agni and Varun, Indra, Agni and Varun lost their former relevance. Lost their former relevance. Okay? And then you write, now Prajapati became most important god. Prajapati became most important god who was considered as creator of the universe. Who was considered as creator of the universe. Okay? Then you write the other divinities like Rudra and Vishnu. Rudra and Vishnu also came into being. B-E-I-N-G, being. Okay? So they also came into being, Rudra and Vishnu. Okay? And Vishnu ke baare mein there is a story. Did I talk about that story? No. So actually, there used to be one tribe at that period of time. The name of the tribe was your Vrishni. Okay? So basically, these were the people who you were. Vishnu was the folk god of these tribals. Okay? And these people, Vishnu tribe people, they used to worship the Vishnu. Okay? Then further, seeing the same, it was incorporated into this one. Okay? So that's how Vishnu came into being. So he was already there. So that is there. So you write, then what was the purpose of the worship in this period? Again, नहीं, salvation बाद में आया. End by the Buddha. तो वो भी लिखेंगे, पहले लिखेंगे कि initially the purpose of worship was material gain. was material gain. Material gain. But later, but later, but later, with the incoming of Buddha and Mahavir, the concept of spiritualism, salvation, and purity of soul, acquired fervor, ठीक है? So purity of soul acquired fervor, ठीक है? So acquired fervor, मतलब it means that कि people started to follow this thing. Acquired fervor या acquired wings भी लिख सकते हो, ठीक है? So acquired wings मतलब it was easily getting spread over that period of time, ठीक है? So that was the meaning of the same. So this was all from the this period, Vedic period. So एक बार फिर दोबारा जाते हैं chronology में after this period. So what was the chronology? So this Vedic period, and here early Vedic and later Vedic. So and इसके पहले we talked about the Chalcolithic culture, and then IVC. So 25 to 2, 18 to 15, and then this one 15 to 1, 1 to 600, and then what happened in the 600? So you tell me that what happened in the 600? Yes, the rise of the religious movement. Okay? So this one was the rise of religious movement. So two religious movements we have taught. Buddhism and Jainism, we have already covered. But we haven't talked about the two schools of philosophy, or two schools of different thought, which were your Charvaka and Ajivika. Okay? So here we'll talk about the Charvaka and Ajivika. हाँ बोलो एक मिनट.
Neolithic and Mesolithic sites.
हाँ Neolithic and Mesolithic sites, ठीक है. So Neolithic and Mesolithic sites हम लोगों ने नहीं लिखा था. We didn't wrote on that day. तो एक बार पूरे Stone Age sites करके एक लिख लो, ठीक है. So you come to the Stone Age sites. Stone Age sites. ठीक है. Stone Age sites, and then कहीं अलग पेज पे लिख लेना. So first we'll cover that one and then we'll go to this one. So Stone Age sites में which one was the most important Stone Age site which was there in India? हाँ बोलो. हाँ भीमबेटका. Yes, it is the most important. ठीक है. So भीमबेटका, and you already know that it is very near to Bhopal. ठीक है. Raisen district of MP. ठीक है. Bhimbetka. Then also very near to Bhimbetka there is one more site. Panchmadi. ठीक है. So Panchmadi. Then Adamgarh. MP का पूरा साइट लिख रहे हैं. First we are talking about the MP. Adamgarh. ठीक. Which one? Kayat. ठीक है. So these all are in MP. ठीक है. Then borders of MP UP. So then after there is one valley, and the name of the valley is your Belen Valley. So this is the this used to be there in the both UP and MP. And particularly it is the upper part of the Bundelkhand. Okay. So upper part of the Bundelkhand. Okay. Then further there is one more site which is there in the UP. Two sites, Mirzapur and one more. Which one? It is there in the. No, no, that is. Sohagi Barwa is a different one. Okay. Soghaura is the Sohagi Barwa. I know that thing. Pratapgarh is the one site. Okay. So, Pratapgarh and Mirzapur. Okay. So, these two in UP. Then further, you have written about this one which is there in the Kashmir. So, what is the name of the same? Parzhom. Okay. So, this one you write. This one is in Kashmir. Then Brahmagiri Hills. Where is the Brahmagiri Hill? Brahmagiri Hills? Andhra. Brahmagiri Hills. Near about Kurnool in Andhra. इसके अलावा कोई और साइट हो तो आप लोग बताओ. हाँ, मेहरगढ़ पाकिस्तान वो तो लिख लिया हम लोगों ने, ठीक है. सो उसको तो छोड़ देते हैं, बट इन इंडिया दिस मच साइट्स आर देयर, सो आई थिंक दिस मच वुड बी एनफ. ठीक है, इससे ज़्यादा की जरूरत नहीं होगी. सो दैट वुड बी देयर. नाउ कम टू द राइज ऑफ द रिलीजियस मूवमेंट इन द 6th century BC. ठीक है, तो राइज ऑफ द रिलीजियस मूवमेंट इन 6th century BC. Rise of religious movement in 6th century BC. तो एक बार only names you write, ठीक है. So first you will be writing Shraman tradition would be the first one. एक chronology में लिख लेना. Shraman tradition was the first to came into being, and then after Shraman tradition, it's 3 branches. ठीक है. So Buddhism, Jainism, and Ajivika. And then there was one more, Charvaka. Okay. So this Charvaka philosophy is also kind of one of the oldest, and in this one, it was around the time of the Mahabharata. Okay, so we'll talk about the same, what is there. So we'll start with this Charvaka philosophy. So वो दो तो हो चुका है, in Samana tradition we have talked elaborately. So first you write Charvaka. ठीक है. So Charvaka, and then in Charvaka what we'll be writing, इसको at many places it is written as this one also. ठीक है. So this one also. So it is also called as Lokayat philosophy. ठीक है. So this one is also called as the Lokayat philosophy. Lokayat philosophy. And what is the meaning of the Lokayat? Worldly ones. Lokayat. ठीक है. तो worldly ones, which means Lokayat means worldly ones. Worldly ones. ठीक है. Then tell who was the founder of this philosophy? हाँ, Charvak was the founder of Charvaka. ठीक है. But materialism we want to know. ठीक है. So this is the materialistic. This is not a spiritual philosophy, but this is a materialistic philosophy. ठीक है. तो लिखना नहीं अभी. First you listen that what is there. So this is the materialistic philosophy, and its founder, Charvaka philosophy's founder was the Charvaka. But the first person who talked about the materialistic philosophy is your Brihaspati. ठीक है. So Brihaspati was the founder of the materialistic philosophy, and it is said that the Brihaspati Sutra of this Brihaspati, he wrote one book. The name of the book was your Brihaspati Sutra. ठीक है. तो Brihaspati Sutra, which can be said as the inspiration behind the Charvaka philosophy. ठीक है. Inspiration behind the Charvaka propagating this Charvaka philosophy. ठीक है. तो you write कि first you write कि this is a materialistic philosophy. This is a materialistic philosophy. This is a materialistic philosophy. Then you write, Brihaspati was the original founder of materialistic philosophy. Brihaspati was original founder of the materialistic philosophy, and his book Brihaspati Sutra can be said as the inspiration behind other materialistic thoughts. ठीक है? So this was what the materialistic philosophy, and Charvaka is also a materialistic philosophy, but this Charvaka philosophy was by Charvaka. ठीक है? तो then अब change करके फिर लिखो कि Charvaka was the founder of Charvak philosophy. ठीक है? So Charvaka was the founder of Charvak philosophy. So what he has to say, what was there in this philosophy? So since it was a materialistic philosophy, so he will talk about the materialistic thing and he will reject all the spiritual thing. So what all which was there, which was rejected by this Charvaka school of philosophy, so they rejected everything which was there in the Vedic scripture. So they rejected the Vedic sacrifices, ठीक है? So Vedic rituals, they rejected the Vedic rituals. फिर अभी लिखना नहीं, ठीक है? फर्स्ट लेसन, देन वैदिक रिचुअल्स, राइट्स, ठीक है? देन देयर ऑथेंटिसिटी, ठीक है? फिर उसके बाद देन हाउ दे आर डिफरिंग फ्रॉम द बुद्धिज्म एंड जैनिज्म, दैट दे ऑल्सो रिजेक्टेड द सोल, द कंसेप्ट ऑफ द परमानेंस ऑफ दिस, द कंसेप्ट ऑफ सोल, ठीक है? एंड दे ऑल्सो रिजेक्टेड द हिंदुइज्म परमानेंट सोल, परमानेंट self, ठीक है? So soul, permanent self, everything which was running at that period of time, which was related to the worship of spiritualism, they rejected all these things, that Vedic rituals and right sacrifices, then also the ceremonies like Upanayan, Sanskar, scriptures, everything they rejected, and they also rejected this permanent self. So they said that the only thing, ठीक है? Only thing, tell you are, कुछ बता रहे हो तुम? हेडोनिज्म, हाँ हाँ, ठीक है?
और सर ये जो रिचुअल्स, राइट्स और ये सब चीजें सर, ये वर्बल टेस्टिमनी, देयर 6 पार्ट्स ऑफ सोर्स ऑफ वैलिड नॉलेज, उसमें सर सिर्फ परसेप्शन इज द ओनली वैलिड.
यस, वेरी गुड. सो दे सेड दैट कि परसेप्शन इज द ओनली अनुभव, ठीक है? परसेप्शन इज द ओनली प्रमाण, तो प्रत्यक्ष ही प्रमाण है, ठीक है? सो दे सेड दैट कि परसेप्शन इज द ओनली नॉलेज,
सोर्स ऑफ वैलिडिटी.
हाँ, सोर्स ऑफ वैलिडिटी. सो परसेप्शन इज द only knowledge or source of validity, ठीक है? I'll elaborate on the same, that what would be there. So perception is the only knowledge or source of validity. So they said that कि rather than living in the other worldly concepts, कि इस जन्म में अच्छा काम करो, उस जन्म में कुछ अच्छा मिलेगा, ठीक है? Then you go by the spiritualism और ये सब चीज. तो they said कि rather than following this other worldly things, you go by this worldly things, ठीक है? And जो आपके sensory organs perceive नहीं करते, वो प्रमाण नहीं है, ठीक है? तो whatever you see, that is प्रमाण. Whatever you feel, that is pramad, ठीक है? So they said कि only the materialistic things that you can see are the pramad. So they said in Hindi that प्रत्यक्ष ही प्रमाण है, ठीक है? So प्रत्यक्ष, मुझे लिखना नहीं आता है, so प्रमाण है. I think this one is right. हाँ, so pratyaksh hi praman hai. Then further, they used to say that perception is the only praman. That was the one thing. And they gave one quote. कि what was that quote? जब तक जीवेत सुखम जीवेत ऋडम कृत्वा घृतम पिबेत, ठीक है। तो जब तक जियो सुख से जियो और उधार लेके घी पियो, ठीक है। सो दैट वाज द काइंड ऑफ यस देयर फिलॉसफी व्हिच वन हाँ ईट ड्रिंक एंड बी हैप्पी, दिस वाज देयर कंसेप्ट कि ईट ड्रिंक एंड बी हैप्पी। एंड लिख देता हूं मैं इसको बिकॉज दिस इज देयर जब तक जीवित सुखम जीवित। My Hindi was very bad. Only once I got to know that how much I used to get in UPSC, because in the, and you know that your marks, if you are qualifying for the interviews, you will not get the marks of your qualifying paper, this qualifying paper. And if you are not getting the interview call, so then they will tell you the Hindi या English compulsory में कितने marks मिले हैं, ठीक है? So this one, oh God. मेरी हिंदी इम्प्रूव हो गई है आई थिंक नाउ आई कैन क्वालिफाई घृतम पिबेत, ठीक है। सो दिस वाज द देयर फिलॉसफी कि जब तक जियो सुख से जियो और ऋण लेके घी पियो, मतलब उधार लेके। तो इवन इफ यू डोंट हैव द मनी यू कैन आस्क फ्रॉम इट समबडी एल्स एंड देन यू एंजॉय इट, ठीक है। व्हाट हैपेंड?
Then they will come to collect it back.
So, no. So, when this collection, so this led to what happened? So this Charvaka philosophy, it created a kind of ripple in the society, okay? And he was there at the time of the Mahabharata, and it has been mentioned that जिंदा जला दिया है ब्राह्मणों ने मिलके चरवाक को। हाँ, this was the instance which was written कि though his followers they were in fear, they spread to the other parts. But initially, it was the one particular kind of the thought which was heavily protested, and Charvaka was he was burnt alive. ठीक है? So that we used to live in materialistic society, but आजकल लोग ज़्यादा चालाक होते हैं, so इसलिए थोड़ा उसको spiritual fervor दे देते हैं, ठीक है? So that is there. तो you write about this one. ये लिख लो, ये जो knowledge है. So school of materialist reject the notion of afterworld, comma karma, comma liberation, comma authority of Vedas, and immortality of the self, What is immortality of the self? Atma amar hai, ठीक है? So they reject that kind of concept. So they reject. Then you write. अब full stop के बाद लिखो. After full stop you write. Of the recognized means of knowledge. And knowledge को लिखना प्रमाण. In brackets you write knowledge is called as the प्रमाण. So PRAMANA. ठीक है? So of the recognized means of knowledge, the Charvaka recognized only direct perception. The Charvaka recognized only direct perception. And that is your anubhav. So perception is anubhav. ठीक है? So perception is anubhav. So this was the one, and then you write they consider perception is the only pramad. They consider perception as only pramad. And there is no soul, no God. And there is no soul, no God. Okay? So this was there. and if you want to write, you can write. जब तक नहीं होता है, जब तक मैंने गलत लिख दिया, यावत, it is यावत, ठीक है? So आधा देखो मैंने हिंदी और वो मिक्स कर दिया संस्कृत, ठीक है? So यावत जीवेत, सुखम जीवेत and दृढ़म कृत्वा घृतम पिबेत. So this was there. Now come to the आजीविका.
The reason of denial of soul, they said visisht de ev atma, means body is identical to soul.
What is?
Body is identical to soul.
Body is identical to soul. Okay.
So उनके लिए body sense of organ body में रहेंगे, इसलिए वही body.
Okay, thank you. So now come to the Ajivika. So you understood now what was this philosophy? किसी को समझ में नहीं आया तो बताओ. आ गया? और लास्ट वाला पार्ट, लास्ट वाला लाइन अच्छे से समझ में आया होगा. So, which one? No, you understood now? ठीक है. So, now come to the Ajivika. Ajivika, ठीक है. So, there also Ajivikas are also a different school of philosophy, and Ajivika was the founder of the Ajivika, ठीक है. अभी लिखना नहीं, ठीक है. So, founder of Ajivika was the contemporary of whom? Mahavir, ठीक है. So, he was contemporary of Mahavir, and both were very good friends. Mahavir and the founder of Ajivika, name of the guy who founded was your Makhali Putra Gosala, ठीक है. So, he was the founder and both were friends, ठीक है. Mahavir and Makhali Putra Gosala, both were friends and both used to follow the Shramana tradition, ठीक है. But there happened a very big fight between the two. At some stage, very big fight between the two. और बहुत बुरी तरह से fight हुआ. So in this fight, they got divided into the two branches. So the bigger branch was led by the Mahavir and shorter branch was led by the Makhali Putra Gosala. And that division was on the basis of this one, that you already know that it is Mahavir Jain. He prescribed discarding all the clothes, ठीक है? But he prescribed brahmacharya also. याद करो फिर वापस जाओ. He prescribed the brahmacharya also and he prescribed, just 1 minute. अच्छा, sources somebody is asking, तो but already I have announced the sources of ancient India. ठीक है, एक बार फिर से last class में end में I'll announce the ancient India. So what I was saying, that he prescribed this Mahavir, ठीक है. So Mahavir prescribed this brahmacharya and also discarding the cloths, ठीक है. So these people, they followed the discarding the cloth concept, but not the brahmacharya, ठीक है. And instead of going by some other kind of meditation or thing, they organized the sexual orgies, ठीक है, in the Ajivika, ठीक है. So they were also kind of people closely associated with the Charvaka, ठीक है. But not every time they used to organize this sexual orgies, but sometimes they used to organize sexual orgies and they didn't follow the brahmacharya. So they drank, they went naked and they performed the sexual orgies, but not the brahmacharya, okay? And that was the point where this fight was between the Mahavir and Makhali Gosala Putra, and he went away, okay? So this is how these got emerged. But their concepts are little bit similar to something else, okay? And that concept was but there was one concept of the Uchchedvad. पहले सुन लो इसको, ठीक है? So if at all, if this is asked, so there was one concept of this Uchchedvad, and this Uchchedvad, initially, it was given by one person whose name was Ajit K. Skambalin, okay? So, Uchchedvad, it was given by Ajit K. Skambalin, and in this concept, what was there? Annihilationism, okay? So, annihilationism, what does it mean? Annihilation का मतलब क्या होता है? Annihilate किसको करता है आदमी? To end something, but annihilate has a particular meaning. End something that is about yourself. You annihilate yourself, ठीक है? Annihilation is related to yourself. So whatever that is created will get annihilated, ठीक है? So that is the concept which was given by this Ajit K. Skambalin. इससे ज़्यादा हमें पढ़ने की ज़रूरत नहीं है इसमें, because if at all this would be asked, तो this annihilationism was biased and who was there. So this was the concept, and this Ajivikas, they were inspired by the Uchedvad of Ajit K. Skambalin. ठीक है? So you write, इसमें देखो कि you write the founder of Ajivika, founder of Ajivika was Makhali Putra Gosala, who was a contemporary of Mahavir, contemporary and good friend of Mahavir, who was contemporary and good friend of Mahavir. But later, both branched off from each other. ठीक है? Then you write, the philosophy of Ajivika is inspired from Uchedavad, and in brackets you'll be writing annihilationism. Uchedavad, annihilationism of Ajit K. Skambalin. Ajit K. Skambalin. अजीत आगरकर भी हैं और काम्बली भी हैं, ठीक है? सो बोथ आर देयर, सो केस भी हैं. So Ajit K. Skambalin. Then further right. So this was about that, from where it was inspired. Then what was the philosophy? So their philosophy, now come to their philosophy was known as Niyativad. So which is closer to the annihilationism, ठीक है? So slowly समझ जाओगे कि what is there in annihilationism. So their philosophy was Niyativad, ठीक है? It is also called as Niyativad. And here Niyati is your destiny. अभी लिखना नहीं, ठीक है? So here meaning of the Niyati is destiny. And what he has to say, that in this Ajivika they say that there is no free will, ठीक है? कोई free will नहीं है, and whatever that has been happening will happen, that is pre-decided, ठीक है? That will continue and that will get annihilated, that is pre-decided. So there is no role of any free will or any god or anyone कि जो हो रहा है वो होता रहेगा, जो हो रहा है वो होगा, और जो होगा वो होता रहेगा, ठीक है? So this was there, what they said कि whatever that is happening will happen and it will be continuous, ठीक है? So you write their philosophy is known for Niyati doctrine. Their philosophy is known for Niyati doctrine of absolute determinism. Absolute determinism, ठीक है? Full stop. Then you write, there is no free will, comma, that everything has happened is happening, and will happen. तो जो हो चुका है वो हो रहा है वो होगा, ठीक है? So that is the one. तो जो हो चुका है वो हो रहा है वो होगा, ठीक है? So that is there. Then you write, they considered the karma doctrine as a fallacy. FALLACY, fallacy. The कर्म doctrine as a fallacy. What does it mean? कि जो कर्म की बात करते हैं झलावा है, that is a झलावा. So कर्म doctrine is a झलावा. ठीक है. Then further you write is a fallacy, and you write, and the affairs of entire universe, and the affairs of entire universe is ordered by a cosmic force, which is niyati or destiny, ठीक है. So जो भी पूरे entire universe में whatever that is happening, that is ordered by a kind of a destiny, but not by any god. And on the same manner, a little bit difference is there. एक line लिख लेना कि कभी पूछ दिया कि where this Syadavad is related. So Syadavad is related with the Jainism, which do have a similar kind of concept, not exactly, but similar kind of concept. And what is there in the Syadavad? What they used to say? कि universe is a continuous process, ठीक है? And again the same thing, कि it will go in a continuous manner and there is no role of God in the universe, ठीक है? So that is the Syadavad. तो ये एक लिखो कि Syadavad, ब्रैकेट्स में लिखना है, इसके बाद लिखना है, ठीक है? कि नियति खत्म हो गया, then you write Syadavad is related with Jainism. हाँ, आजीविका, क्योंकि जैनिज्म में हम लोगों ने लिखा नहीं है इसको, दैट्स व्हाई आई एम कीपिंग इट ओवर हियर, ठीक है? तो श्यादवाद it is different from the Ajivika, ठीक है? तो this is the explanation. They all are trying to explain the universe. They also try to explain the universe, ठीक है? कि नियति के according universe है, ठीक है? Not by the free will of the man or God, ठीक है? But here they also say that Syadavad they also try to explain the universe, and they say that there is no role of universe was already existing, ठीक है? कि उसको किसी भगवान ने नहीं बनाया. No God created the universe. It was already existing and it will exist as like that. Okay? So that is your Syadavad. So related to with Jainism, where they say that universe was already existing. Universe was already existing. And will exist. And there is no role of God, in the making of the universe. Okay? So this was all from the this whole Jainism and religious movement. ठीक है? तो ये एक तरह से फिलॉसफी वाला पार्ट भी पूरा कंप्लीट हो गया, ठीक है? सो नाउ वी विल स्टार्ट विद द राइज ऑफ द महाजनपदास, ठीक है? सो राइज ऑफ 16 महाजनपदास, ठीक है? सो राइज ऑफ 16 महाजनपद. Rise of 16 महाजनपद, ठीक है? So what happened in this period? अनेकांतवाद, हाँ, अनेकांतवाद, स्यादवाद, they are also related with the Jainism, ठीक है? वो actually those people who have the philosophy optional, they used to read the same, ठीक है? अनेकांतवाद, स्यादवाद, हाँ. But UPSC has never asked about the स्यादवाद, but मैंने इसलिए उसको लिखवा दिया कि if at all UPSC is entering into the other territories also, ठीक है? और बहुत सारे difficult questions आ रहे हैं, तो which one? हाँ, these are the epistemological thoughts which are there in that. ठीक है? तो if at all, but in those who are at the same time those who are giving the state PCS exams, तो उसमें ये सब पूछता है, ठीक है? They used to ask this kind of question, but UPSC थोड़ा सा analytical, I think that they are asking a kind of analytical also, and more deeper inquiry is there in the UPSC. So rise of the Mahajanpadas. Then first we'll talk about that. What is this Janpada, basically? What were these Janpadas? And how they become the Mahajanpadas. So basically, this Janpad, we talked about the word Vish, ठीक है? Kul, Vish, Jan and Gram, ठीक है? So this is coming from this Jan, ठीक है? So Jan became the Janpada, ठीक है? And then those 16 who were the most important, they became the Sodas Mahajanpad. They used to call it Sodas Mahajanpad. Sodas means 16 Mahajanpadas. Okay? So what was the reason behind the origin of this 16 Mahajanpada? What region can be attributed for the same? That why this 16 Mahajanpada came into being? So basically क्या होना चाहिए? ऐसा क्या चेंज होना चाहिए सोसाइटी में? व्हाट हैपेंड? एक बार फिर से कनेक्ट करो. यू ट्राई टू कनेक्ट इट विद द 6th century BC, ठीक है? और इवन द लेटर वैदिक पीरियड. तो व्हाट वाज द ग्रेटेस्ट डिस्कवरी इन द लेटर वैदिक पीरियड? आयरन, ठीक है? सो आयरन हेल्प देम अ लॉट. अब आयरन से दे कैन मेक अ वेरी गुड आर्म्स ऑल्सो, दे कैन क्लियर द फॉरेस्ट ऑल्सो, दे कैन डू अ बेटर काइंड ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर, दे कैन यूज इट इन द प्लॉ, ठीक है? सो आयरन वॉज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट डिस्कवरी विच लेड टू सो मेनी थिंग्स, ठीक है? देन फर्दर this iron, when this iron facilitated, ठीक है? So iron, this facilitated in agriculture. So अब दोबारा क्या होगा? Agriculture में what will happen? Agriculture surplus will happen, ठीक है? So agriculture जब ज़्यादा होगा तो there would be agricultural surplus. That agricultural surplus will lead to trade, ठीक है? And that trade will lead to urbanization, ठीक है? So basically, these 16 places were nothing, but they were the 16 urban places, urban setups where the trade and these kind of things were happening, okay? And slowly, according to their trade, they started to become the stronger, okay? So they started to become stronger, and initially, we'll talk about the 16, who were that 16 Mahajanpadas, and initially Kasi, Kosala, okay? Kashi, that is Varanasi, and Kosala, that is Ayodhya. Okay? So these two Mahajanpads were the strongest. But later what happened after 50, 60 years, Magad became the most powerful one. Okay? So, and then onwards, Magad slowly captured all the 16 Mahajanpadas. Okay? And slowly, in the time of the Mauryas, it captured whole of India. Okay? So that was there. So you write, by the end of 6th century BC, by the end of 6th century BC, 6th century BC, people penetrated towards eastern side and central side. Eastern side and central side. Penetrated towards eastern side and central side. And with the help of iron, and with the help of iron tools, they cleared the dense forest. They cleared the dense forest. Okay? Then further you write, from next paragraph you write, the upper and middle Gangetic plains, were colonized for agricultural activities. The upper and middle Gangetic plains were colonized for agricultural activities. ठीक है? Agricultural activities. ठीक है? Then you write, the rich soil of this area led to surplus produce of agriculture. The rich soil of this area led to surplus produce, agricultural produce, led to surplus agricultural produce, which in turn promoted. Am I going too fast? ठीक है ना? तो which in turn promoted second phase of urbanization. Second लिखना, first नहीं था ये, क्योंकि first already got happened in the Indus Valley civilization. ठीक है? तो second phase of urbanization by 5th century BC. By 5th century BC. ठीक है? Then you write, Due to this urbanization, several large territories, due to this urbanization, several large territories emerged in India. Emerged in India, which came to be known as Mahajanpadas. Okay? So how we used to get the information about this Mahajanpadas? Which are the books where first it is some information about the Mahajanpadas is written. So some literary evidence of this Mahajanpadas we need to write. So first you listen that what were those literary evidences where this Mahajanpadas are written. So three book थे mainly. There was one book which is known as the Anguttar Nikaya. Okay? And this Anguttar Nikaya is a part of the Sutta Pitaka that you have read. Okay? Buddhism में पढ़ा है ना Sutta Pitaka. So it is a part of the Sutta Pitaka. So it talks about the 16 Mahajanpada. Okay? Then there is one more Buddhist text which is known as Mahavastu. Okay? So it also talks about the 16 Mahajanpadas. Okay? And there is one Jainism text which also talks about the 16 Mahajanpadas. Okay? And the name of the Jainism text is your Bhagavati Sutra. Okay? So these all three talk about they are the literary source of the literary evidence of the 16 Mahajanpada. Okay? So you write the information about 16 Mahajanpadas. The information about 16 Mahajanpadas is given in Anguttar Nikaya, Mahavastu, Anguttar Nikaya, Mahavastu, और ये दोनों के आगे लिख लेना. Both are the Buddhist texts. These two are the Buddhist texts. So Anguttar Nikaya, Mahavastu, and Bhagavati Sutra is the text related to Jainism. Text related to Jainism. So we'll talk about this 16 Mahajanpadas. So and we will identify the same in the map also. So we will be drawing the map. Otherwise it will be difficult कि पता भी नहीं चलेगा कि ये कहाँ पे थे. So this one done, ठीक है. And Anguttar Nikaya में लिख लेना कि it is the subtext of the Sutta Pitaka. या attached, नहीं सब नहीं लिखना, attached text of Sutta Pitaka. Attached text of Sutta Pitaka. So you please draw. अगर जो पूरी तरह से नहीं हो पाए तो सिंबॉलिक ही ड्रॉ करो, ठीक है, बट ड्रॉ करो इसको साथ में. So we'll go one by one that where these all territories were there. So आधे लोग गायब हो गए. आ जाओ तब स्टार्ट करेंगे. यू इसको हटा दो, ये वाला हटा लो, ठीक है. So 16 महाजनपद were there, ठीक है, और मैप के थ्रू हमें पता भी चलेगा कि ये कहाँ पे थे, ठीक है, तो we'll talk about all and then we'll talk about their capitals also. तो first we'll talk about that where the 16 महाजनपदास were there and then their capitals also. Capital से question आया हुआ है, UPSC has already asked capital and not just one but in last 15 years 2 times they have asked the capital, ठीक है. So first we'll start with the, as I said that the most powerful महाजनपद was your Kasi, ठीक है, तो Kasi is your present day Varanasi. So एक I'll draw one this symbolic Ganga because it will be easier for me to then go by the same, ठीक है. So Kasi and here it would be Bihar. So Kasi would be, so you draw Kashi. First you draw Kashi, ठीक है, and you write Kashi. So Kasi was over here, the present day, this one. Then very near to, in between this Varanasi and Nepal border, ठीक है, if you go the eastern side, so not eastern but just upper to that one, here you will find Kosla, ठीक है, तो Kosla is your present day Ayodhya. Kosla, ठीक है, Kosla was there. Then further, move to the, so from Kasi, yeah, from Varanasi, how many kilometers is Allahabad? 100, around 100, 100, 120. So Allahabad was known as your Vatsa, ठीक है. So Allahabad on this side, so you write Vatsa, VATSA, ठीक है. This was your Vats Mahajanpad. Then we have already talked about this one, the one which was there where Buddha died, ठीक है. So Buddha died in which Mahajanpada? Kushinagar, not Mahajanpad. It is the place. Malla, yes, Malla Mahajanpad. So it is the border area of the UP and Nepal, ठीक है. So here you write Malla Mahajanpad, MALLA, ठीक है, Malla Mahajanpad. Malla. Then further, moving from here, so this is the border area and Kushinagar is also the border district with the Bihar, ठीक है. So Bihar starts. So the northern part of the Bihar, ठीक है, the northern part of the Bihar where present day Motihari, this Paschimi Champaran, ठीक है, the Champaran that you read, so which is there. So this was under the, this was known as Vajji, ठीक है, Vajji. And then on the confluence of this Ganga river and also which one, नीचे से एक और river आ रही है Son, ठीक है. So हाँ, from here Amarkantak से, from Amarkantak this Son is arising. So here was your Magad. So this was your Magad. And this border area of West Bengal and Bihar and present day Bhagalpur and Munger district of Bihar, it was your Ang. Ang. ठीक है, this is there. Then now come to the this side. So here Allahabad we have covered. Allahabad के just नीचे this Bundelkhand area over here, ठीक है. So Bundelkhand Jhansi area, this one was known as this Jhansi area over here. It was the Chedi, 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 ठीक है. Chedis were there. Then you move to the Mathura, here Mathura. So Mathura was your Matsya. Sorry, Surasen, not Matsya. It is Surasen. Then after Mathura, Kuru and Panchal is there. Okay? The one we have discussed. So Kuru would be the present day, this Meerut. So here Kuru and the Rohilkhand area is the Panchal. Rohilkhand area is the Panchal. So this is there. Then you move to the Rajasthan. Okay? So Rajasthan, capital of Rajasthan, Jaipur, and Jaipur was your Matsya. मत्स्य ठीक है एंड कितना हो गया 1 2 3 4 6 7 8 9 सो गांधार एंड कंबोज ओवर हियर ठीक है सो फर्स्ट एक पाकिस्तान भी बना लो सो दैट वुड बी इजियर फॉर यू सो दिस वन पेशावर ठीक है हाँ इसको ब्लैक कलर में बनाना ठीक है ठीक है सो दिस वन वाज योर गांधार गांधार एंड इन दिस अफगानिस्तान पार्ट हियर यूज्ड टू कंबोज दिस पार्ट इज योर कंबोज ठीक है एंड द लास्ट टू इन द साउथ सो over here in the Madhya Pradesh, ठीक है उज्जैन तो उज्जैन was your अवंती ठीक है and the last one on the banks of river Narmada yes असमक हाँ तो ये भी साउथ ही कंसिडर कर सेंट्रल वही थोड़ा नीचे आ जाओ इट्स नॉट मतलब इतने सेमेंटिक्स में मत जाओ सो नर्मदा पे दिस असमक वाज देयर ASAMAKA ठीक है सो दीज वर द प्लेसेस सो दीज वर द 16 महाजनपदास ठीक है नाउ कम टू द कैपिटल्स तो इसमें साथ साथ में कैपिटल भी लिखेंगे सो we'll start with the this Kasi. So what would be the capital of the Kasi? Very easy. बताओ काशी का कैपिटल क्या होगा बनारस वाराणसी नहीं ठीक है तो इट वाज नोन एज बनारस ठीक है देन दिस मल्ला इज ऑल्सो वेरी इजी अभी थोड़ी देर पहले तुम लोगों ने बोला कुशीनगर ठीक है तो इट्स कैपिटल इज कुशीनगर देन वज्जी वैशाली ठीक है देन दिस इज इंटरेस्टिंग कैपिटल ऑफ द अंगा चंपा ठीक है देन मगध यू ऑलरेडी नो नो नॉट पाटलिपुत्र ठीक है पाटलिपुत्र लेटर बिकेम लेटर गिरिव्रज और राजगृह गिरिव्रज और इनिशियली दिस वाज द कैपिटल गिरिव्रज और राजगृह ठीक है गिरी मतलब माउंटेन ठीक है एंड एक्चुअली राजगृह वाज सराउंडेड बाय 5 माउंटेन्स ठीक है तो इनिशियली दैट वाज द कैपिटल गिरिव्रज और राजगृह देन व्हाट अबाउट वत्सा इट इज इलाहाबाद रीजन तो कैपिटल क्या होगा कौशाम्बी it is there Kaushambi is still it is there so Kaushambi is the capital then Matsya is the present day Jaipur but there used to happen one colony in the Jaipur which is the capital of the this Jaipur this Matsya Viratnagar abhi bhi hai it is already there so Viratnagar then Kuru you have already written क्या था capital Hastinapur and this Panchal is Kampilya and Surasen Mathura and what is the capital of Kosala Ayodhya no Ayodhya was not the name Saket Saket, Select City Walk, DLF Place. So हाँ अभी 4 रह गए, 2 नहीं रह गए. So Kamboj is your Rajpira. And capital of Gandhar? क्या? बोलो बोलो. हाँ हाँ, टैक्सी ला, ओला, ठीक है, उबर. So even they can, if they can just go by this name. जैसे यहाँ ओला चल रहा है, वहाँ से पाकिस्तान में टैक्सीला चला सकते हैं, ठीक है. So टैक्सीला, then these two, Asamak and Chedi is also remaining. So Chedi is the, Chedi का कैपिटल क्या है? Just 1 minute, 1 minute. Asamak is Potna. Okay. So Chedi is Suktimati. 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 And this Asamak is not Patna, it is Potna. So the last one is your Avanti. Why I left Avanti? Because it has 2 capitals. So Nadan Avanti and Southern Avanti. Okay? So capital of the Southern Avanti was Ujjain. So you will be writing Southern Avanti capital, Ujjain. And what is the capital of Nadan Avanti? Yes, very good. So that is Mahismati. So these all are the capitals. And you will also get information about that, the vehicle which was used by Bhallal Dev. Okay? So the same kind of vehicle, not same I can say, but that was inspired from the vehicle which was used by Ajashatru. Okay? So we'll be coming to the same. And then further, they're also used, in history, they're also used to be one Bhallal Dev. Bhallal Dev was a Hoysala ruler. Mandir pada hai na? Temples, Hoysala temples. So he was the, Bhallal Dev was the Hoysala ruler. ठीक है? So ये उसने जिसने ये movie बनाई होगी, he must have gone through history. हाँ, अच्छे से पूरा art and culture और history. Even you can become director. I'll give you, you know, it is Anurag Kashyap. He used to be there in the SFS of the Mukherjee Nagar. He was preparing for the UPSC. For 3 years he prepared for the UPSC. And then all the time he used to be on one chai and sutta, okay? Was there on the Mukherjee. People used to recognize him. And he always used to go over there, okay? So by 3rd year when he was frustrated, so then he left the, he faced one interview also, okay? But he got very good marks in interviews, around 33%. So that's how he got the realization that this is not my cup of tea. I should leave this place. And he was a very good writer. He used to write stories. और वो पूरे टाइम वहाँ मुखर्जी नगर के उस चबूतरे पे बैठ के पकाता था लोगों को अपनी स्टोरी सुना के, ठीक है? So that Gangs of Wasseypur was written in the Mukherjee Nagar itself. So this is what about the 16 Mahajanpadas which were there, ठीक है? तो out of these 16 Mahajanpadas, I said to you that initially, सुनो, so initially this Kosla, Kasi was the most powerful, and Kosla was also very powerful, and then 3rd powerful was your Vajji. These 3 were very powerful. But this Magad Mahajanpad, when it came into being, so the first dynasty which was there, Haryanka, so they were a kind of a clever people also. And they were, this Magad Mahajanpad was strategically located also. So it was on the reservoir of the iron ores. This Magad Mahajanpad was on the reservoir of the iron ores. So ek to iron ore tha. Then further you see here 2 confluence of the 2 rivers are there. It means that ki navigation is easy. Then timber ka transport is easy because forests were there. We talked about this Champaranya, Saranya, Aranya. Okay? So all the 3 forests were nearby the Magad. So timber was easily available. Then fertile land was also there. Okay? So everything which facilitates the trade was there in the Magad Mahajanpad. And slowly they became the powerful. And to counter these people, Kasi, Vajji and these kind of dynasties, they started to rely on the मैट्रिमोनियल अलायंसेस, ठीक है? एंड इनके साथ शादी वाला रिलेशन का एस्टैब्लिश किया एंड देन दे बिकेम द फ्रेंड्स. सो दैट्स हाउ स्लोली दे वेर बिकमिंग पावरफुल. एंड with the incoming of the Ajatashatru and other rulers, they slowly acquired all these territories. ठीक है? So first लिखो कि initially Kashi was the most powerful. Initially, the Kashi was most powerful, followed by Kosala and Vajji. Followed by Kosala and Vajji. Followed by Kosala and Vajji. Then further right, but later, Magad emerged as most powerful. But later, Magad emerged as most powerful Mahajanpad. Whose rise, चावल वाला राइस नहीं लिखना, whose rise, ठीक है? अच्छा, राइस पे एक और चीज मुझे याद आया जो वैदिक पीरियड में छोड़ दिया हम लोगों ने. पहले इस लाइन को कंप्लीट करो एंड देन विल गो बैक टू द वैदिक पीरियड, ठीक है? सो whose rise can be attributed to following reasons. Can be attributed to following reasons. ठीक है? 3 things you write in the Vedic, this later Vedic period. I just forgot. I'm sorry for the same. So 3 important crops of the later Vedic period. पहले सुन लो, ठीक है? So rice, wheat, and barley. ठीक है? These 3 were the most important crops of the later Vedic period. और early Vedic period में only barley. ठीक है? तो early Vedic period में only barley was the most important, and it was known as yav. These names are important, इसलिए बता रहा हूँ क्योंकि ये सब तो याद कर ही सकते हो. Barley, rice. So rice, this barley was known as yav. ठीक है? Rice was known as vrihi. And what about wheat? गोधुमा. ये बस इतना लिख लो, ठीक है? So in early Vedic period only barley, yav was the most important, and in later Vedic period these 3 crops were cultivated: barley, rice, and wheat. And barley is known as yav, Y-A-V-A, ठीक है? Rice is vrihi and wheat is godhuma. So this was there. हो गया ना ये? So these 3 were there. Then so you have written that key reasons of the rise of the Magad as most important Mahajanpada. ठीक है? तो first you write कि why it became the most important. अच्छा, इसमें कई सारी बातें हैं, ठीक है? So और सब लोग attention पे करो तो मैं बात करूं. So 3-4 things were there. One was your, अभी लिखना नहीं, I talked about strategic location, ठीक है? Then confluence of rivers, वो strategic location में हो जाएगा. फिर then iron mines was one. Then also what else? Agricultural surplus. Fertile land, हाँ, वो इसी में जोड़ लेंगे, fertile land. लेकिन the most important reason because of which Magad emerged as the most powerful Mahajanpad was the unorthodox nature of the society. Unorthodox nature of society. What does it mean? हाँ, it was more liberal, but in terms of what? Taxation? No. Acceptance? Yes. बोल सकते हो, ठीक है? Arrangements भी बोल सकते हो. और बताओ? Anyone from you? Unorthodox nature of the society is mostly related to the trade wala thing, ठीक है? So I'll tell you a few instances. Here the rulers were enterprising. In this one, the rulers were enterprising, And enterprising means that they gave utmost importance to the enterprise, not to the religious text and what is written in the religious text. So, according to the Dharma Shastra, which were there, the Dharma Shastra were also running on the same line, which were there in the later Vedic period, which were the law books of the Hinduism. So, in Dharma Shastra, what was written that trade in liquid is not allowed. ठीक है, तो लिक्विड में ट्रेड नहीं अलाउ है एंड ट्रेड थ्रू लिक्विड इज नॉट अलाउड. ठीक है, तो ट्रेड इन लिक्विड एंड ट्रेड थ्रू लिक्विड. तो आप इस रिवर का भी यूज नहीं कर सकते हो और लिक्विड का कोई मटेरियल है, ऑयल है या वट एवर दैट इज देयर, तो यू कैन नॉट ट्रेड. सो दे जस्ट डिस्कार्डेड दैट काइंड ऑफ कंसेप्ट. ठीक है, दे डिस्कार्डेड दैट काइंड ऑफ कंसेप्ट एंड दे स्टार्टेड टू फॉलो कि व्हाट इज बेनिफिशियल फॉर देयर टेरिटरी, एंड दैट्स हाउ दे बिकेम इंटरप्राइजिंग एंड दे बिकेम द most powerful. ठीक है, and slowly the society also started to accept this kind of the things which were propagated by the kings. So that led to their major success. These were the kind of things which were already available in other places also, though in bits and pieces, but not over there. एक देखो कि यहाँ पे this Kasi which was there, तो Kasi was the very powerful. Initially it was because of the textile industry, because यहाँ पे cotton का प्रोडक्शन काफ़ी होता था और काफ़ी सारे टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री थे एंड टेक्सटाइल वाज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, बट स्टिल दे ओवर पास द सेम थिंग. ठीक है, सो अब इसमें लिखो कि फर्स्ट रीजन यू राइट कि स्ट्रैटेजिक लोकेशन ऑफ मगध, which was on the confluence of rivers provided good avenues for navigation and trade. Good avenues for navigation and trade. For navigation and trade. ठीक है, full stop. Then you write fertile land. हाँ, next point लिख लो. हाँ, point form में second point you write. So fertile land led to surplus of agriculture. Fertile land led to surplus of agriculture. ठीक है. Third point you write. Forest provided very good quality of timber. ठीक है. And then you write about iron. So iron ore and mines were abundantly found in Magad. ठीक है, तो उसका फर्दर रीजन यू कैन ऑलवेज राइट कि इट हेल्प्ड इन द मेकिंग ऑफ टूल्स एंड वट एवर. ठीक है, तो वो अपने आप से आगे एक्सप्लेन कर लेना. ये सब पॉइंट तब लिखा जाता है ना जब पेपर में और पॉइंट्स नहीं मिल रहे हो, कम में इंफॉर्मेशन खत्म हो रहा हो, तो इसको पूरा इलाबोरेट कर दो. एंड यू राइट अबाउट द ईच एंड एवरी थिंग विच कैन बी मेड फ्रॉम द, इवन ट्रक कैन बी मेड फ्रॉम द आयरन, इवन बस कैन बी मेड फ्रॉम द आयरन. दैट्स हाउ द ग्लोबल वार्मिंग कैन बी रिटन. ठीक है, इफ यू डोंट नो अबाउट दैट थिंग यू कैन राइट अबाउट दैट मच. ठीक है, सो इस तरह से बीटिंग अराउंड द बुश. ठीक है, सो इफ यू डोंट नो, सो आगे लिखो. एंड द फॉरमोस्ट रीजन which led to success of Magad was unorthodox nature of society. Unorthodox nature of society and also the enterprising rulers. ठीक है, so this was how Magad became the most powerful. Now we'll look into the एक dynasty देख लेते हैं. Only Bimbisar तक we need to talk. So then after tomorrow we'll continue from the Ajatasatru. So first and foremost, very important dynasty. Okay? So first was the Magad. So now onwards we'll be talking about the Magad. Okay? So Magad, we are going to start. And in Magad, so who were the founders of the Magad? Initially, who were the founders of Magad? हाँ बताओ. देखो मैं when I ask this question तो I expect a answer, ठीक है, which answer is not correct, ठीक है, so at least वो भी answer नहीं मिला मुझे. So basically what people used to answer that Bimbisar, ठीक है, and Haryanka dynasty, but he was the formal founder. Initially the Magad was established by the two people and their name was Brihadrath and Jarasandh, ठीक है. So they were the two people who established this, who were responsible for rise of Magad, Brihadrath and Jarasandh. 1 minute. Jarasandha. ठीक है? So these two were the first people, because of whose efforts Magad's rise to some power. ठीक है? And then later one dynasty was established by the Bimbisar, which became the formal founder of this Magad. So name of the dynasty was your Haryanka. ठीक है? And it was established by Bimbisar. ठीक है? So first you write कि Brihadrath and Jarasandh can be said as the initial founder of Magad. Can be said as the initial founder of Magad. Initial founder of Magad. Initial founder of Magad. But Bimbisar is considered as the formal founder of Magad. Bimbisar is considered as formal founder of Magad, who established his own dynasty. Who established his own dynasty known as Haryanka dynasty. His own dynasty, Haryanka dynasty. ठीक है? So Haryanka dynasty. Here we will stop. ठीक है? We will talk about the trips of what he did. Bimbisar, what was his contribution, what he did, and whom he defeated, and then we will talk about the Ajatasatru. What we are going to do tomorrow, एक बार सुन लो, ठीक है? So we will follow कि Magad में तो first this Haryanka dynasty, and then after Haryanka dynasty we will talk about the Shishunaga dynasty, ठीक है? Then after Shishunaga dynasty we will talk about the Nanda dynasty, ठीक है? So these three dynasties are major in the Magad, and then after this Nanda we will enter into the Mauryas period. ठीक है? So Mauryas में हम लोग काफी कुछ art and culture में we have covered, but still few things related to the central administration of the Mauryas is required. ठीक है? So that we will do tomorrow. ठीक है? चलो, thank you. And tomorrow supposedly we are going to hear for till 6 o'clock. ठीक है? थोड़े क्योंकि दो ही क्लासेस बचे हैं मेरे पास, इसके बाद फिर मुझे क्लास नहीं मिलेगा. हाँ, sources 1 minute. Just wait 1 minute. Somebody asked for the sources of the